I'm gonna be honest with you, Roblox has been really intriguing me for the past month or so. It kind of caught me by surprise, so much so that most of the time you'll probably see me playing on this stupid little platform very frequently. Quite frankly, I've got nothing else to do, and well, Roblox satisfies my boredom with fun and easy to access games. I mean, the reason a video hasn't come out in January is because I had to scrap it due to a Roblox game catching my interest. And while I'm still working on that video, which is a banger by the way, first let me tell you about a horror game on Roblox called Doors. To be honest, if you haven't heard of this game whatsoever, you're pretty special. I mean, it exploded in popularity. It got 1 billion visits in about a month or two. In Doors, well, I think it's pretty obvious what you do. You open doors. You explore a randomly generated hotel with each room leading closer and closer to the end goal, door 100. On the way through, multiple entities and creatures will try and stop you on your tracks. There's one that rushes through the hallways and instantly kills people who aren't hiding. There's one that is really annoying and makes you spin around like a crazy person trying to find it before it attacks you. There's one that triggers a chase sequence. There's one that is blind that you have to sneak past, and so much more. Now, this was already an amazing game, a little boring at times, but still extremely well made. But it's currently in its alpha stage, so you know what that means. There are updates to be made, and well, an update was made recently, the Hotel Plus update, which is everything the game already was, but better and actually scarier, and also more difficult. So I'm gonna talk about it. Also, subscribe if you want to see me make a full guide on this game that explains everything and teaches you to actually beat the game. Let's go. I'm gonna start off by saying that this game is extremely fun. There's something so charming about it that just makes me want to come back to it all the time. It's too good to be a Roblox game. Honestly, I think if you couldn't see your player model and show this to someone who doesn't know about this game, they'd probably think it's just a random indie game. The art style is just smooth, and there aren't even any overly detailed models or hyper-realistic features. It's just kind of a smooth and slightly blocky art style, but it works because of that. It's a nice simple aesthetic that I like looking at with my own 2 eyeballs. Now onto the gameplay. The gameplay isn't that revolutionary, to be honest. It's a horror game, so all you can really do is just walk and crouch. You can't sprint, however, which is a bummer, but there are plenty of mechanics to constantly keep you on your feet. As of this update, there are about 12 entities that you will find throughout the hotel that are out to get you. There are also a few funny Easter egg ones that are scary but harmless, but we don't talk about those. Look, the gameplay isn't too complex. You walk forwards, you hide when the lights flicker, you run when big gooey eyeball guy starts running after you, and when you're at door 50, you're supposed to be crouching, trying to sneak around a massive library with this creature named Figure prowling around. The figure's blind, but you still have to be careful where you go. And the newest entity that got added in this update, Dupe, basically creates fake doors. This is a really creative mechanic because not only do you now have to pay attention to sounds and a few visual cues, you also need to pay attention to the number of the room you're in. My first experience with this entity was unpleasant. I want to see what happens if you go through the wrong door, so that's what we're gonna do. My heart is beating. I'm gonna get jump scared, surely. Oh my... Get duped by Dupe. Yeah, it's safe to say that there's practically everything you need here as a solid base for a good game. What I love about it that's executed really well is the sense of dread it gives you. I can't help but feel slightly scared at all times because I never know what could actually happen. It even eliminates the only safe option, the hiding spots, by kicking you out of them if you stay in them for too long. So needless to say, this game won't give you a break, and that's just what I enjoy about it. The new update adds even more awesome stuff like a mid-run shop, which is honestly pretty cool. There's new items like the skeleton key, which unfortunately opens a rather disappointing room that just has a bunch of gold and a plant in it, but it also opens a secret area, which I will talk about soon. There's also the candle that is like the lighter but worse. What's cool about the candle is that it will go out whenever an entity is nearby, meaning that you can use it to your advantage to be able to tell when something has spawned. And we also have the big boy, the main guy that is in the middle of the update thumbnail, the Crucifix. The Crucifix is really good. You just hold it in front of an entity and you finally make them feel pain and suffering. It's honestly such a neat little item with a cool animation to go with it. I just wish it was more accessible. I'm pretty sure you can only get it from the shop and very rarely from drawers, and sometimes it won't even appear in the shop. Anyways, let's talk about the secret area, which is a really nice detail and Easter egg. For context, Doors is inspired by 2 games, an old horror game called Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion and a pretty unknown game on Roblox called Rooms, which is basically doors but made in a few minutes. No offense to the creator, but rooms walked so that doors could run. And well, the devs of Doors made a massive reference to this by including a completely secret door, and if you go through it, your run will continue through an extremely accurate recreation of rooms that is within doors. It contains the same monsters, the room types are literally the same. The only difference is that, well, it's indoors. You also unlock a badge and an item if you get to the end. But the funny part is, there are 1,000 doors, or rooms if you will, and a full run of this thing takes you about 2 hours, 2 full hours of just walking and very rarely avoiding entities. It's way worse than Doors because it's so much emptier, way more boring. There is no ambience, just you walking and opening doors and the occasional entity sound playing when one appears. It's just super tedious, and well, it's a challenge for people who feel like they have too much free time on their hands, and I, being a tedious game enjoyer, will definitely enjoy playing this. Moving on, the cutscenes that were in the old version have been reanimated and they all look way better now, but that doesn't really matter. What's really been changed are the last 10 doors. Back in the days, all you would have to do at door 100 was just to open the big door, run past the figure using a bug, run back, open the locked door, and do a pretty easy puzzle, and you were done. It was very straightforward, but now it's way crazier. First, you open the door, and to make sure that you can't run past the figure, the game forces you into a sort of chase to run back and collect the fuses necessary for the elevator puzzle while the figure is roaming the hallways of the maze you're in with wardrobes at every corner. This is so much more challenging than its previous version, and it's actually way more frightening, especially if you don't have a proper light source with you and have to rely on sound to find out wherever the figure is so it doesn't catch you. It would have been alright if getting there wasn't really difficult due to the new gimmick introduced in the Hotel Plus update, and that is the greenhouse. It is one of my favorite things that has ever come out of this game, but I also hate it a lot. So every room past door 90 is in an area that looks different from the rest of the game, with overgrown vines, flowers, sunroofs, different looking closets, and floor traps. The greenhouse is a section from door 90 to 100, and it is every conceivable thing that you don't want to happen all at once. Basically, every room is dark, and Rush, the entity that usually shows up accompanied by a very clear visual cue, now just appears constantly in the dark, and your only way to tell is by sound. And I mean, Rush appears extremely often, like about every other door you open. Combined with the fact that there are really loud rain noises and thunderstorms that throw you off, this section presents a challenge even to those who come prepared. And well, I love it so much because of that. I've always felt like Doors wasn't that hard of a challenge, at least for me, and this area plus door 100 definitely made me slightly change my mind about it. It all feels like an actual final stretch that you just need to hold on for a little longer, and the game is pulling out all the stops to try and make you fail instead of just generating normal rooms like it used to. To put it simply, it's intense and scary, but the payoff is worth it in the end. So in conclusion, this is a great update for an already great game. If you haven't played this game yet, go do it. It's literally free. I love this game to bits, and I can't wait to see what's in store for it in the future updates. For a mainly 3 developer team, this is quite incredible. Subscribe because it's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Okay, bye! Oh, you're still here? Oh, you're jamming to the music, right? I know, the songs are bangers. Anyway, goodbye.